Get on the Rude Guest Hotline, talk with a Washington legend. Mr. Joe Theismann joins us now. Joe T, what's up, man? How are you?
Good morning, guys. I'm doing well. That's a nice way to start my segment with the Bee Gees. Enjoy that very much.
Get you moving.
Now we have to get to other things, right?
Oh, yeah. I think our producer Jim Mullins there is saying it's only 4 games. You don't want to freak out too much by one result. Washington's still very much a lot of football left to play. But damn, yesterday was ugly, Joe.
It was.
Yeah, it really was. I agree with you. I think that, so many different aspects. They made some big plays and we didn't get a chance to. I think Marcus has played very, very well for us at the quarterback position. And our running backs have done pretty well. We just haven't been able to capitalize on plays when we need to on the offensive side, and defensively, the running game, just creates an issue for us, it seems. And, those are all aspects that you go from week to week to week to isolate and say, okay, we need to fix this. How are we going to fix that? And this is going to be a great test for us going out and play the Chargers, who have one of the best defenses in football and one of the best young quarterbacks in football. So, but this football team has always managed to find a way to rise to the occasion, and I'd expect that same thing this weekend.
Joe, the tackling is a big issue to me. You watching your day, my day. People hit and wrap up. Today, everybody just bump people and think they're gonna fall. And it was a disgraceful display yesterday. And how do you get that changed up if the NFL, the NFLPA don't want people to practice football? How the hell are they gonna play football?
Mitch, you're so right. There's two areas. There's 2 areas where I think football has changed significantly from when you and I played. And not that we're going back in history and say in the old days, but no defensive backs wrap up anymore. You're absolutely right. Everybody wants to body block somebody. The other thing is if it's a big running back, none of the defensive backs want to take them on. Mm-hmm. They're afraid of them. That's the God's honest truth. They're absolutely afraid to hit a big running back in the hole. I watch linebackers. I watch defensive backs just completely whiff, or attempt an effort. Maybe they think that the film is not going to expose them, but I see that so much. And the other thing is wide receivers today, because they have a 5-yard rule, they can't get touched. Their route running is terrible. As a quarterback, when we played back, when I had Art and Charlie and Alvin and Virgil, I insisted on giving me hints. That way I get the ball out of my hand. I can anticipate where you're going to be. Now guys run through the holes so quickly, and I think that one position has suffered tremendously from a rule change as far as disciplines go. But you are so right about the tackling. The tackling is horrific, not just what we saw yesterday, but across the league. Yeah. Nobody's willing to step up and tackle anybody. You have Buda Baker, for example, is one of those safeties that can do that. Chin was that way. They're willing to stick their nose in and make plays. But now it's like, you can't get these guys on the ground throwing a body at them. You're absolutely right.
Yep. I'm talking with Joe Theismann here on the Rude Guest Hotline. Rude makes the most reliable heating and air conditioning products in the DMV. Joe T, you played quarterback at a really, really high level. You know how to kind of take apart a defense. When you see some of the coverage busts that the Washington secondary is having repeatedly, what do you see when you're watching that?
I not only see it with us, but I see it with a lot of different teams. I don't think it's the complexity of the defenses, because now remember, and I guess Brian pinned it out so well. Nobody practices. You don't have time to prepare for the regular season because nobody allows anybody to hit. Nobody allows really many. You don't have any games to really analyze people. Your starters never play. So when you start the season on opening day, that should be your first preseason game. So you look at 2 or 3 weeks in. Now guys are starting to find themselves. They're starting to find their condition. They're starting to learn how to communicate with one another. You don't get any of that nowadays in the off season. It's a joke. Mm-hmm. It's an absolute. And I, as a fan of the game, I'm insulted to have to watch a lot of this stuff on football and know that in week 3 or 4, I'm going to start to see decent football again. I mean, as a fan of the game, I love the game so much. Mm-hmm. And, it was very, very good to a lot of us. But I'm excited about the game. But what I see guys putting the ball on the ground, guys not holding onto the ball, guys dropping the ball, guys not tackling, guys not blocking, offensive linemen jumping off sides. They can't even look at the darn ball when it's sitting there. I see so many things that are undisciplined, and that's a direct result of not being able to practice the way you're supposed to play. I was very insistent. When I ran a practice on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, to me, they were games. That was a game for me. There were no excuses. You had to know where you were supposed to be. I had to throw the ball correctly. It didn't matter. To me, it was all about that's another game for me, and Sunday became an extension of that. And now, unfortunately, because of the rules, the way the league has been set up, guys, you can't really approach it that way.
True.
You sort of have to feel your way through it, and all of a sudden you get in the game. Now you got to put your pedal to the metal and get it going. We're not light switches.
Yeah.
It takes time. It takes time to get us ready to go.
Joe, so I was talking earlier. Okay, like at this level, you're a professional. You're the top of your class, top of your profession. And if there's something that didn't work all week in practice and not working in the game, I think players should have the right to adjust some things, and without like going against what the coaches say. Like I did it all the time. Bobby Jackson knew I was going to do it. If it don't work in practice and it's not working in the game, I'm not going to keep doing it. I'm going to do something else. And if the thing I do works, then I'm going to try to implement that into my whole game next week. But do players do that? I know back in the day, guys would make adjustments in a heartbeat. Now it's like they go out, they do something that's not working. But I watched the whole game yesterday, and I watched one route combination, and they never changed anything about it. And they just kept completing passes on that same route combination the whole football game.
Yeah, there's two ways that goes, Mitch. First of all, if you find something that people can't cover, you just keep doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you find a kink in the armor, then you keep exploiting it, and you keep exploiting it until you stop. It's funny. You bring up a great point. Coaches tend sometimes to outsmart themselves. What they do is they have success with something, and then they say, well, geez, they're anticipating that the defense is going to make an adjustment. Instead, we ran 40 gut and 50 gut so people's nose bled. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
We're going to run it, and we're going to run it, and we're going to keep running it, and we're going to run hitches, and we're going to run out routes. We're going to run things. If you can't stop them, we're going to keep running them. And even if you stop it once, it doesn't matter. We're going to keep on running it again because we believe in what we're doing. I think that some of this, we got trapped in some bad mismatches yesterday. When you're trying to cover Bijan out of the backfield, he's a load. I'm telling you, he's one of the best running backs in football with speed, power, and everything else, and the ability to catch the ball. I mean, he's a rare combination we see in today's game. We just ran into a terrific performance by a terrific young running back yesterday. But like I said, I think that, and to me, it was funny with Coach Gibbs. It wasn't a democracy. Joe drew up plays. It was my job to read the defense and get the ball, as he used to put it, to the open receiver. Mm-hmm. Today, what I see so much in football is guys are willing to throw the ball up in the air, hoping that the receiver makes a play or hoping that you get an interference call. Mm-hmm. And it's like whatever happened to throw to the open receiver is what I'm talking about. But guys now also have input into the game. The quarterbacks will get the game plans usually on Tuesday, have an idea. They'll sit down, they'll talk with the coach and say, I like this route, I don't like that route. Then they'll practice it, and if it doesn't look good, they'll say, I just don't feel comfortable with this route, and they'll take it out. So there is more communication between the player and the coaches. But again, sometimes you try and outsmart yourself. Sometimes, you can disguise the routes with a lot of different formation combinations. You run the same thing over and over and over again. It won't look the same when it starts, which causes a problem for the defense, but the end result's going to wind up the same.
Yeah. The end result yesterday certainly winded up the same. It
did. You're right. You're right, JP.
It seemed like Atlanta just had something figured out, and Washington couldn't stop it. You mentioned earlier that you've been pretty impressed by Mariota. I think in his two starts, he's performed certainly admirably for a backup, given his team. I mean, in the Raiders game, he was fantastic against Atlanta. I thought he did more than enough. The offense gave this team a chance to win.
Yeah, they did. I mean, we had trouble stopping their offense. It's funny how our league is and how games are. The week before, the Atlanta Falcons put a goose egg up.
Yeah.
Didn't score. Then all of a sudden they come out and put 34 up against us. And they made it boils down to when I watch a football game, and I usually sometimes have a little piece of paper next to me, and I'll sit there and there'll be 4 or 5 plays in a game that determine the outcome of a football game. 4 or 5 key plays make a difference, and they made 4 really key plays in that game, and we didn't get a chance to make as many. And the score was close enough to say it was 1 or 2 plays here and there, but it just didn't go our way. And I think we have to sort of take a step back and look at our football team and say we're young in some places and we're old in others. And the year we had last year was fantastic, but that year is gone. There were a lot of late wins in that game. There were miracle finishes in that season last year. This is a new football team with a new year to establish its own new identity. And this run that we've got coming up here, Chargers away, Bears at home, Cowboys away, Chiefs away, Seattle at home, Lions home. Then we go to Madrid with the Dolphins, and then you finish the season with 4 straight division games. I mean, the schedule's not getting any easier. You earn the right to be able to play a tough schedule because of your record the year before. And I think that, this is going to be a game for us to get a real fix. The preseason's over in my mind. Now let's say, okay, the Chargers, they got beat by the Giants in New York with Jackson Dart, which was, thank goodness, the kid got a chance to play. I hope he doesn't want to play against us down the road, though, to be honest with you.
He looked all right.
He did, yeah. He did a lot of things well. He used his legs well and threw the ball well. But this is a chance for us to be able to go out and make it happen. Everybody's beatable in this league. Everybody's beatable in this league. And certainly going out to play the Chargers is going to be a challenge for us, but I believe this team's going to be up for it.
Joe, I keep getting asked, what's the identity of this football team? I haven't been able to figure it out just yet, but I would guess that they wanted to be running the football because they had 2 games where they rushed for over 100. They rushed for 150 yesterday. That's a very good output. Against Green Bay, they couldn't do anything. What would you say the identity of this football team is, or what should it be?
I still think it's Mitch. I still think it's trying to find exactly what it is. I think Cliff looks for a balance. I don't think you can overstate the fact that Terry wasn't there. Without Terry with Jaden, you get 2 key individuals on the offensive side of the ball that make plays, that create those 1 or 2 plays that I talk about in a game that you have to try and find. Them not playing makes a difference to this football team. I think they want to run the football enough to be able to keep defenses honest. But I would say that we're probably a team that would want to, maybe 60-40 throw the ball, maybe even 65-35 throw the football a little bit, because you can get the ball out of Jaden's hands quick, and all those short passes become just like extended runs.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a complementary aspect to the running game. The 2 young running backs are, they're playing their hearts out. They're running hard. They're making plays. They're doing everything they can. But I just don't see this football team as lining up and running the ball 35 times a game and expecting us to be able to control the flow of the game.
Talking with Joe Theismann here on the Ruud Guest Hotline. Ruud makes the most reliable heating and air conditioning products in the DMV. Joe, one thing that I keep going back to is, listen, man, they've played 4 games. They're 2-2. There's a lot of football left. But Dan Quinn said it yesterday. We start slow on the road. You just mentioned 3 of the next 4 are on the road.
Yeah.
At what point is that on the players, on the coaches to turn that around?
You just have to ignore it. When the football team that I was honored to be a part of, we didn't care if we played somebody on an aircraft carrier in the middle of the ocean. It wouldn't matter to us and Mitch, I know you feel the same way.
Yep.
Wouldn't matter. And that's part of establishing the identity. Of course, back then, you had guys that played a lot of football together. This team is still trying to. This is not the 2024 Commanders. This is not. This is an entirely different group, a different group of players, a different chemistry that has to be created. And now is the time they have. This isn't time for one of those player meetings. This is time where the guys have to come together. And Mitch, you brought up, you're going to have to tackle better.
Mm-hmm.
I've always asked, when I've had a chance to talk to different teams, my question to them is, which one of you is going to make the play that makes the difference in the game? Which one of these guys in this locker room is decided that they're going to make the play that makes the difference in the football game, that allows us the opportunity to win? And like I said, you knew one another when we played together. This football team is still learning about one another. Debo is new. Larry's new. You've got, Terry was out. So, you've got guys. You have to make plays. You have to catch the football. You have to be able to block well up front. You can't make stupid mistakes. You can't make mistakes. You can't wind up with 1st and 30. Okay.
Yeah.
It's tough to overcome 1st and 10, but when you got 1st and 30, it's like, okay, we're gonna pick up 20 yards and then we're gonna punt. What bothers me sometimes is the mental mistakes you make before the ball's ever snapped that creates issues and problems for play calling, and it makes it harder to be able to do what you want to do.
Joe, last one for me. Based on my own knowledge, I feel like it's going to be Jaden when we get to L.A. on Sunday. How much of a difference, how much of a boost is it to get Jaden Daniels back on the field for this team?
I think Marcus, like I said, Marcus has been a great steward of the position.
Yeah,
I think he's really stepped in. I would put him up there and say, as far as backup guys that have to go in and play, I put him in, near the top in the league as far as being able to adjust, not get a lot of practice time, be able to efficiently run the offense. He can do it all.
Agree.
Jaden brings a different element to it. There's a degree of athleticism that he has. There's the deep ball accuracy that he has. There's so many things that he brings to the table that are unique to the position that not many guys possess. So to have him back, I think, would be a confidence factor to know that they can do certain things in this offense they want. And, the question with Terry, is Terry going to be healthy enough to be able to play the game and have the impacts that he has? Wide receivers, it's funny. If you get 9 targets a game, that's a lot. Yeah. You make 7 catches, that's a big number. But it's not a lot of plays in the scope of the amount of plays that are being run on the offensive side of the ball. And so, if he can make 1 or 2 plays at a key moment, which he has time and time again, it makes a difference. So to answer your question, JP, I think, if Jaden is able to come back and play, I think it's a plus.
Yeah. Joe, we appreciate you making time for us on a Monday morning. Seriously, thanks, man.
Love to visit with you guys. Take care.
Hi, man. Take care, brother.
It's our friend Joe Theismann, true legend of the Burgundy and Gold organization. Appreciate his time and honestly the perspective, because you got to zoom in on yesterday, but you also got to zoom out on the totality of the season. Yeah. Here's what we're going to do. 800-636-1067. 800-636-1067. Yesterday was ugly. Offense was pretty good. Matt Gay made all of his kicks, but damn, the defense did not get it done.